Now that we've finished embossing our foil, it's time to add color. So we're going to use permanent markers because they are color fast on top of foil. That just means water-based things like regular Crayola markers, they're not going to stick to the foil. So you're being very, very gentle as you apply color, and we're only going to do this in the areas that are able to be colored easily. So if your outlines are, sticking down, you're not going to get color in there, and that's okay. We like the contrast that's going to happen naturally in those contour lines. So I'm making my cat's eyes blue, and then I'm basing this off of my cat. So areas where his fur is actually gray, I'm going to use this bright lime green. We want to make sure that we're using bright colors that might be found in a lot of traditional Mexican art. So some of my Sharpies are not quite so bright. The color lid might look like a really pretty blue, but when I applied it to the foil, you can barely see it. So you can also try out markers on the back of your foil so that you don't have some color mixing going on that's weird. Now, I did find that where I put this light blue first, I loved the way it actually blended with the Sharpie. Because you're coloring on top of foil, it doesn't dry immediately. It's not paper sucking up all of the chemicals, the product. So I did apply some of that blue, and then I'm going over top with the purple because I like the way that it blended with the foil. So let's speed it up. We don't need to be here all day watching Miss Ruckle apply color to my cat. So these purple areas is where his fur is actually white in real life. I could have picked any color, but I wanted to use a color scheme. So on my cat, I'm actually just using cool colors, greens, blues, purple. And then in the background, I'm going to use a hot pink so that I have some really, really nice contrast. So just some things to think about is your color scheme and making sure that your object is really popping out, standing out from your background. Contrast is your friend. Now, because of the lighting, it's really hard to see some of my colors accurately while I'm working. But here we go. Let's start to add some pink in here. So I'm using light pressure and the side of the Sharpie. I don't want to use the pointed end of the Sharpie. I'm using the side of it so I get more coverage and it's more even. It won't take me quite as long. It shouldn't take me nearly as long, really, if I'm using the side of the Sharpie versus the point. So smaller detail areas, of course, I need to use the point and getting into some of those edges, but aside from that, use the side. Now, some of these areas where I tried to poke the foil back down, I do have some weird folds happening, so I couldn't use the side for all of it, but use your best judgment. For the sake of this video, I'm going to call this done, but really I need to go in and also decorate my border. I would not actually leave this just plain silver foil. But here I want to show you what the color looks like from the different angles. And then you can also see the embossing and the way different parts of it are raised. I think she's beautiful.